Welcome back to the Chuck and Shoop Show. I'm your host, Mr. Shoop Shooperton, and I'm with my guy,
Chuck Chuckerton.
and we are Backerton with another fantastic episode. In today's episode, college football championship weekend. We're going to break down all the matchups, who's going to win, who's going home early, who makes a New Year's Six bowl game as if they even matter. And then we're going to go into NFL quarterbacks. We're going to evaluate their performance or non-performance this season
Hmm.
and see if they're a candidate to return next year. But to begin things off, we got a classic 7-Up coming up
Here we go. Dubs
and
and L's.
L's. Starting off with my W of the week. So this was uh my favorite play of the NFL weekend. So in the Seahawks Raiders game, uh the Seahawks get an interception via Quandre Diggs, and Daryl Taylor on the Seahawks sideline thinks that the play is over. Now he runs onto the field to go celebrate with his teammates, but it turns out the play is not over. So what does Taylor do? Yeah, he throws a casual little block on one of the Raiders guys, and you know what happened? No ref noticed it. So this is a big time dub because doing whatever you can to help your team and not getting caught for it by refs. I mean, you could give an L to the refs for this one, but who cares? Awesome moment by Daryl Taylor. Uh, Hopefully we see more of this. Maybe we can see a coach throw a block out there one time.
I just want to know why no is that a penalty? Like, can you just do that? Or that
Oh,
definitely should have been a
it,
penalty,
it
right?
100% should have. And I haven't heard anything about a fine or anything. I think the NFL is just like, well, we just let that happen.
Do you think do you think that guy got chewed out on that play, or do you think people were laughing at it in the film room?
I I wonder if Pete Carroll even noticed that happened mid game. He
I
probably
I would laugh at it. Honestly, as a coach, I would laugh at it. No penalty, I would laugh at it.
yeah. What you got, Chuck, for your dub?
So my dub right now, and it just literally happened about 4 hours ago, or 3 hours ago. The World Cup has been amazing. There's been upsets all over the place. But today, my dub goes to Japan for making the World Cup unexpectedly in their group for the round of 16. What happened was Japan played Spain today, and it was originally supposed to be Germany and Spain were going to advance if they just outright won those games by like one goal. But what happened was both those games got to tied at 2-2 at one point in both their second halves. And for about 3 minutes, Croatia and Japan were going to
Costa
make the
Rica,
group.
Costa Rica,
What'd you
not
say?
Costa Rica, not
I
Croatia.
mean, Costa Rica. Yeah, Costa Rica. We're about to make that instead of the powerhouses of Germany and Spain. But luckily, Germany hit another goal, and then that propelled Spain somehow or something. But Japan just squeaked by beating Spain 2-1, and I think this World Cup has been electric with all these upsets, and I hope all these upsets keep going and go USA.
Bonus W to Christian Pulisic putting his body on the line for the US. Um, I'm going to continue my theme of the World Cup with my L of the week, and it's going to go to Belgium forward Romelu Lukaku. Now, for those who aren't too familiar with soccer, I'm sure you aren't. Lukaku has been a pretty good striker in the Premier League and Italian Serie A over the last 5-10 years. He's had multiple 20+ goal seasons, so he's regarded as pretty good. But he's having a Russell Wilson like decline in, and it's showing a lot in this World Cup. Belgium needed a win to get into the round of 16, and Belgium, they're heavy favorites to advance, and it was tied 0-0. And in the 90th minute, a crosser comes into the box right at Lukaku's feet. It might have been like 5 inches away, and it Lukaku basically just rolled it to the goalkeeper. He was so close; he would have had to actively try to miss
That
in order
sucks.
to screw that up, and he did. And what's what's even more remarkable about it is that was a perfect opportunity for him to redeem himself because he had three missed chances earlier in the game.
Mm.
So, like I said, it's the equivalent of what Russell Wilson's doing right now, where a big time star is letting his team down tremendously. Although this is on a worldwide stage. So, L for
I
you,
mean,
Lukaku.
who would you rather be right now, Lukaku or Russell Wilson?
Um, at least Russell Wilson has 12 bathrooms. You can't say that about Lukaku, can you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the World Cup is definitely bigger right now, but they're both in the doghouse. My L is gonna go to Jerry Jones. Um, you know what happened recently? Someone leaked a photo of him at a rally when he was about 14 years old. I forgot what was going on, but they were desegregating a school where he lived at, and he happened to be in one of the photos where he was participating with students of that school, not letting black kids into the school, keeping it segregated. Now, they've asked questions about this to him, and my only L is his response to the question. Honestly, like it was 60 something years ago, right? We could just say like, listen, he was a dumb kid or whatever. But the fact that like he didn't address that he was that dumb kid back then, and he didn't say that he used to, maybe he wasn't racist, but maybe he used to be racist. But I don't think I think that's a huge L not addressing the situation that was in the past and saying that he was just being an idiot. So I think it's very downplayed, this whole situation. I think it's just a huge L and not a good look for Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones always in the news, seemingly for negative reasons.
And I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Going on with Jerry Jones. So obviously we heard about this whole Odell Beckham thing, where he got kicked off a plane for basically not putting his seatbelt on and being on some sort of
Huge L. Huge L.
but then Jerry Jones basically what we think of all owners, what we think they think of players, how they dismiss their off the field behaviors. Well, Jerry Jones just outright said it. So I mean, like, I guess kudos to him for being honest, but like
Yeah.
it just that shows you right there the kind of person he is, where he's just like, oh, we don't care. He plays good football.
I guess that'll work. That'll save him. Maybe Odell will save him.
Maybe, but there's no saving these college football teams if they lose this weekend. It is championship weekend, which there's not as much on the line as previous years because you really only have 5 teams in contention for the
Hmm.
playoff. It's the top 4 in Ohio State. I really don't see any other teams making it. But, you know, a bowl game for or New Year's Six bowl for a lot of these teams would mean a ton. So definitely a lot to play for. And of course, they want to play spoiler. So we're gonna break down each game, starting with the Friday night Rose Bowl game. As you can see, I am live at the Rose Bowl right now, and we got a
Looks beautiful.
it is beautiful, great sky up there. We got a huge matchup. USC has zoomed all the way up to the 4 seed. Their offense has been incredible all season, and they're taking on a Utah team that's got a pretty good offense themselves, maybe the best offensive line in the country. Uh, but Chuck, what key matchup are you looking to in this game?
I'm looking at the wide receivers against the Utah's DBs. I know it's all Caleb Williams, right? I'm thinking like that the Utah defense finally like they buckled down this week again, and they're gonna keep Caleb in the pocket. And Caleb's an amazing athlete, but I'm hoping these USC wide receivers really just get open every time and destroy Utah's defense. But honestly, I'm hoping Utah bottles up Caleb Williams and gets a lot of sacks. So we'll see.
Yeah. Do you think USC needs to win convincingly in this game, or do you think a win is all they need for them to clinch a playoff spot?
I think a win is all they need. They originally lost to Utah, right?
I believe, yeah, that's their only. It was a one
Yeah,
point
so
loss.
so I think they beat this team again, no matter it's by 3-1, 2 points. They beat this team they're in. USC's in. They're automatically four.
Yeah, I would kind of get behind that. I mean, just because the other teams lost around them, it takes the pressure off of USC a little bit in terms
Uh-huh.
of needing to put those style points up.
No.
Uh, but I personally see USC winning this game. They have that revenge factor on their side. So you mentioned the receivers, Jordan Addison. Another guy to watch out for this weekend is Tuli Pulatu.
He's
Hopefully I said that
nice.
right, but
Yeah, you did. I think you did.
he's a stud D end on USC, potential first round pick going to next year's draft. So he's one of many NFL studs in this on this USC team. Uh, I would love to see USC potentially get in as a 4 seed and challenge Georgia. I think they could definitely give them a big game.
I'd like to see that too.
Yeah. All right. So the Big 12 championship at noon on Saturday. So Kansas State, surprise entrant into the Big 12 championship against another surprise entrant in TCU. Although TCU is undefeated, having their best season since Andy Dalton was their quarterback. Um,
Andy Dalton.
yeah, never forget the red rifle. Now we got
Yeah.
Max Duggan leading the fold. Chuck, what does Kansas State have to do to be able to pull off a monumental upset?
Kansas State has to establish the run, work clock management. And I know it's going to be hard, but they have to play sound defense in the secondary because what's his name? Duggan, right? Am I saying his name right? Yeah,
Yeah,
Duggan. And then their receiving core is nasty, and then Miller at running back, he's a freaking beast. So I mean, if they can stop the quick pass attack, because I know that's what killed them last time. It was like touchdown, like in a minute, touchdown in 40 seconds. Like big, they can eliminate the big plays, control the clock with the run game with Vaughn, Kansas State's Vaughn and Martinez. I mean, the sky's the limit. Is Martinez? Is he playing?
yeah, he's playing.
Okay. He's like, okay. Yeah. So I mean, Kansas State can pull out the win, but I feel like TCU is just gonna roll right through them.
Yeah, I don't know who on that Kansas State team is going to be able to cover Quentin Johnston. Johnson is having a monster year. He's drawing comparisons to Julio Jones. He's got a good chance of being the first receiver taken off the board in this upcoming draft. Uh,
He's massive.
he is massive, and Duggan certainly get him the ball. Now I'm expecting a lot of points in this game, and if Kansas State wants to win this game, they're gonna have to find ways to use Martinez creatively, try to get him outside of the pocket. He's not the greatest pocket passer, very
No.
excellent, very much an excellent athlete though.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be about them keeping the chains moving because their ability to hold. I don't believe in their ability to hold TCU on offense.
I don't think they can.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see. I just want to see. I'm gonna check out the over under real quick for that game. Hold on. It's at 61 and a half. So I think the last matchup it was 38 to 28. So I think I'd hammer that over.
Interesting call. Yeah. I like the over, but it kind of seems like a trap to me. It just seems too easy. But
I
you
feel
know,
you.
we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
So going into our next matchup, the SEC championship, we got LSU versus Georgia. This was looking like a massive affair about a week ago, and then LSU squanders their game against Texas A&M. So now Georgia is a 2.5 touchdown favorite, 17 points. Is that spread justified, or is LSU not getting enough credit?
I want to say LSU isn't getting enough credit, but I mean, like you said, like with a loss like that after last week, especially to a Texas A&M team who's below 500, it really is alarming. But overall, I think LSU can hang in there with Georgia. I think like Georgia at times in the first half against like not the greatest SEC teams like Missouri, they barely scored any points in the first half. So I mean, if LSU's defense and then like Chip and then I mean Brian Kelly, if he figures it out on offense to exploit the Georgia's defense that's so perfect, but somehow if you can contriculate it down the field and kill time like Kansas State can, I mean, I don't know, I don't think Georgia can be too scary anymore if LSU wins.
Yeah. So number one matchup that I'm looking forward to in this game is Keishawn Booty versus Keely Ringo. Ringo is kind
Mhm.
of having an off year for his standards. He was much better last year, but still an excellent corner. And Booty's had his drama of his own, but has
He's been booty. Booty's been booty at times.
he has been Booty, but he still has that immense upside, and LSU needs that upside more than ever in this game.
Mhm.
Um, Georgia, I do worry a little bit about a letdown effect. I mean, it is a championship game; they should be ready to play, but they also might be thinking, "Oh, we're in and we're the best team anyway. We're not getting left out. So we might not see their best effort, which makes me think that LSU will cover that 17-point spread. But this is a team that dismantled Oregon in the season opener, and then Oregon went on to look like a very solid team the rest of the year. So uh, Georgia, by far the best team in the country, and it would not surprise me to see Georgia roll in this one.
Oh yeah. Will I pick LSU to cover? Maybe.
Maybe, maybe we throw a little tenor on there.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Yeah,
alternate plus 14 and a half. Get spicy.
that would be pretty spicy. So we're gonna skip over North Carolina, Clemson because
Yeah. So, ready on three. Say your team's gonna win. One, two, three. Clemson.
Clemson
Yeah. Yeah.
once again, yeah, I don't believe in North Carolina's defense whatsoever. So even a struggling Clemson team will beat them. So we're gonna go into the nightcap game, Michigan Purdue. So seems like a lock, right? But Purdue is 3-0 in its last three games against top five teams as an unranked team. That's the most unreal stat that I heard going doing all this research for all these games. Uh, is this a realistic possibility that Purdue could pull off a massive upset?
I think it definitely is. But the only thing is Purdue's quarterback, I forgot his first name, but O'Connell. I think he's out for this game. So that's the biggest problem for Purdue. But if Purdue's defense can show up against a Michigan team that only had five big plays against Ohio State and really didn't have any like impressive drives, if they can eliminate the big plays and then diminish the run game because Blake Corum's out for the season, I think Purdue can definitely pull it off.
Well, yeah, Purdue has to just be half as disciplined as Ohio State was in that game, and maybe they'll have a chance. But the emergence of Cornelius Johnson in that game is something to be scared of if you're on that uh, Purdue, if you're on that Purdue defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, Blake Corum, he's having knee surgery. He's not going to play, so that's
Yeah,
a
he's done.
big loss. But with the way the aerial attack looked in that game, it was something that I didn't certainly didn't expect out of Michigan.
No.
Jim Harbaugh is coaching some of the best football of his Michigan career, and as fun as this is a spoiler maker, uh, it
Good
seems like
one.
it seems like Michigan's going to keep rolling. They have that edge because they've seen Ohio State win the last 10 Big Ten championships, before last year, and so I don't see them wanting to relent in this game. I think Michigan wins pretty easily.
Now it's Purdue's plus 16 and a half. Do you think Purdue covers?
Purdue's
I think
either
they
winning or
I think they can.
Purdue's either winning or they're losing by 30. I don't think there's an in between.
Okay. We'll see.
We'll see. Speaking of wait and see, so we're about three-quarters of the way through the season. So some teams are obviously still fighting for playoff position, but we have a load of quarterbacks whose futures are uncertain. And I want to touch on a few of them to see at this point in the season, have they earned a spot or where do we think they're going to end up next season? So we're going to kick things off by our very own Giants quarterback, Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones in the offseason, ownership talked about how they've done everything possible to fail him. And so they spent the offseason trying to surround him with talent on the offensive line, uh, drafting another receiver for him. And the receiver situation has turned out pretty bleak. I mean, we've lost two key guys to season-ending injury this season. You got one guy making 18 million a year doing nothing. But Daniel Jones is having a pretty fine year, but he has missed some big throws and big moments like that game against the Cowboys last week. So,
Yeah.
what do you do with Danny Dimes? I mean, you got Saquon on the books too. What are your thoughts?
I like signing him for a year. Definitely just like 1 year.
Do you franchise him though? Franchising him would be like a 45 to $50 million contract. So,
So
what I
then it'd have to be a two. Then it'd have to be a two type thing. 2 year type, John.
Mhm.
2 years. 2 years, 50 million. or is that too much?
I don't think it's too much at all. I mean, you look at the quarterback market nowadays. Got
It's insane.
average guys will go for like 20 million,
Yeah,
and if Daniel Jones will have a market for him. There's going to be plenty of teams interested in his talent, so it's not like the Giants have a ton of leverage here, saying no one else will take him. So I think right now, more than any other quarterback on this list, you have to take a wait and see approach with Daniel Jones. How does he finish the season? There's some really important games coming up against division rivals Washington and Philly. And then uh, if he gets to the playoffs, I think you got to re-sign him. Uh,
you have to. You have to.
you got
He's
to,
got, like you said, no receivers, injuries out the ass. Defense had injuries too and couldn't close out games. Also, I mean, I think you have to if you make the playoffs with that team.
yeah. So we'll see how Danny Dimes fares for the rest of the season. As for another quarterback who's playing pretty well, but his team isn't in playoff position, that's Jared Goff. So
Hmm.
the Lions are in an interesting situation because they have a poor record themselves, but they also own the Rams pick, and the Rams pick is currently worth number two, which would give them instant access to a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young. So, do the Lions go that way and part ways with Jared Goff, or do they try to get an elite defender in the draft instead and give Goff another year?
Now, I think it all depends on where the Rams finish in the draft, right? It's going to be the Texans, right? They're
You got
probably
the
going to pick Bryce Young.
Panthers, the Broncos pick, which belongs to the Seahawks. You
So
got the
Bryce Young would probably be off the board early, right?
he'd probably be number one, and then
So I
CJ
mean, I
Stroud number
don't,
two.
because I don't. I mean, I love Jared Goff, right? But he is getting old. But like, I don't like this draft class coming up. So I think the best bet for the Lions is to extend Goff because I don't think he's terrible.
No, he's not terrible, but the Lions have a really good roster right now. And in order for them to really hit that ceiling, I think getting one of these elite quarterbacks with the Rams pick is what they should do. And the Rams are right now, they are 3-8 with likely looking at no Stafford, no Cup, no Aaron Donald the rest of the season. So this team could easily just bottom out the rest of the year, go 3-14, and have
Mhm.
no control over it. And if the Lions are in that situation, I think they got to pull a trigger on one of these young QBs. I mean, they they didn't want to go for a QB last year. Uh, Now is the time to strike if they have that opportunity.
Now, what? So it would be Bryce Young, and then who would go next, though?
CJ
Who do you think?
Stroud.
The Lions would? Do you think they would want C.J. Stroud?
I don't see why not.
Is
Uh,
Caleb Williams entering the draft? Just quick question.
he's going to be the following year, but you also have Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, also really good prospects. So it's a really good QB class, at least a lot better than last year.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
So here's an interesting one. Tom Brady. Tom Brady is once again a free agent, and there are rumors swirling that he might go back to New England. Uh, but do you think it's more likely he stays with the Bucks or retires?
I think he retires before he goes back to the Patriots. But I don't see why the Bucks wouldn't re-sign him unless they want to that division is if you have the GOAT and you're in and the GOAT is in a shitty division, like we both know the Bucks are going to come out of that division after a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a good opportunity right there. There's no other team in that division that has like an amazing quarterback. I think the best decision would be to sign the GOAT for another year or two and be in playoff contention.
Now remember, Chuck. Of course, the Bucks would love to sign Brady, but Brady's the one with the leverage here. Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, so he can pretty much dictate what he wants to do. Uh, but I don't think he goes back to New England because he's got a Florida state income tax. That's a big deal. I don't think he's gonna want to move all his stuff all the way up there for a season.
No.
Obviously, he's a free man now, but like,
Yeah.
um, I could see Brady just like sticking down in Florida. I don't think he retires. Uh,
No.
I really think he's going to keep going because of the divorce that happened and his big crypto loss. I think
Oh yeah,
that he'll want money for another season. That's my opinion on it.
he's how old? 46 now, 47.
He's going to
Dude,
be
every time I fucking forget this guy's age. I swear to God. I'm like, what is he? 40? He's 45
he's 45. He'll be 46 next season, which is unbelievable.
at the start of next season. Yep. Because he's born in August. He's gonna retire at 48.
That would make
You
that
heard
would
it
make
here.
sense.
You
Um,
heard it here.
I think maybe next year will be his last year, but I could be saying that for eternity. Uh,
Right? It's
yeah,
gonna be, dude. He's gonna be 52. We're gonna be doing this, and he's still playing.
we're gonna have gray hairs by the time he retires.
Exactly.
So another key free agent coming up next season is Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, who really would have thought that uh, what happened this season would happen, where he ends up re-signing the
Not me.
49ers because he doesn't have anywhere else to go, and then gets his starting job back after Trey Lance gets hurt. So let's not forget that Trey Lance still exists, and the 49ers still heavily believe in him. So Garoppolo's chances of being back on the 49ers next year are really, really low.
Yeah.
So he's going to draw um, a massive amount of attention in free agency next year. Chuck, who do you think Jimmy G's most likely destination will be?
I I want to say the Saints or a team in the like I mean the Panthers. Like why wouldn't the Panthers want him? Um, maybe the I mean would the Giants take a chance on him?
I think the that one of the New York teams could definitely be in the market for him, but it wouldn't really make sense for the Giants to go after him because why not just pay Daniel Jones?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and with the Jets, I think the Jets might be the best fit. I mean, Jimmy G seems like a kind of guy who would do well in New York and handle a spotlight.
Oh,
Uh,
100%.
and Mike White, he played well, but I don't think they're counting on him to be the long term quarterback. And the Jets have money to spend, and they're looking like a quarterback away from a Super Bowl. So Jimmy G would be a pretty good fit on the Jets. I don't think Jimmy G would want to play for a Panthers team that doesn't have a great supporting cast yet. Um,
Jimmy G on the Raiders.
we could. I didn't even put Derek Carr in there, but I think Derek Carr is a Raider for life. I don't think
Yeah,
he
okay.
wants to go.
That's Jimmy G on the Lions. I could see that.
Yeah, but I still think the Lions will draft the quarterback.
Okay.
So a couple more to go over. Geno Smith, guaranteed back on the Seahawks next year.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Right, like he's playing right now. I mean, if well, they gotta win some more games and make the playoffs, but 100% Seahawks. Geno Smith.
I agree with that one. What about his trade partner, Russell Wilson? Well, he wasn't trade partners, but like former teammate Russell Wilson
Yeah, his contingent.
is so he's locked into that big contract. But I guess my question here is, what is his leash like? Like, are they going to bring in competition for him?
If they keep losing and they have like one of those top 8 picks, if they could steal like a quarterback,
Chuck, they don't
maybe.
have a pick. They don't have a
Oh
pick.
no, that's right. They
Traded
they
for
gave away all
Wilson.
their.
So
Um,
do they sign some like a? Do they try to get like a Jared Goff or something to bring in competition? I mean,
I
it's
See,
a tough situation.
it's really hard because the thing with Russell Wilson, he came from an offense where he was mobilizing outside of the pocket a lot of, and it was a lot of the run game, and it was a lot of him moving outside the pocket, and he just doesn't look like the same player. And the offense he's in now is all 3-step quick game, balls out in like 3 seconds. He didn't play like that. He was always an improviser. He always made plays with his feet. And he always extended plays downfield. And now we're seeing like none of that. And it's disgusting to watch and I feel bad for the guy. But you paid so much money. I feel like the Broncos just gotta stick this one out
They
for a
got no
couple.
choice.
They have
They
no
really got no
choice.
choice.
Like who wants it? Nobody wants to trade for him. You're not gonna get anything for him. Maybe like a 5th round pick as of right now. Maybe nothing.
That contract's worse than anything that you could get in the draft.
Yeah, nobody wants to eat that. So hopefully he figures it out.
I hope so too, and I hope so for the Broncos fan base. Last one we're gonna go over. Jameis Winston forgot him in New Orleans. Is is he done in New Orleans? What did the Saints do at quarterback?
I mean, the guy is he's good. The thing is, it's he's injury prone. He's just sitting on the sideline, not being used. I think you know what I want to say. Do I think Winston's a better quarterback than Taylor Heineke? 100%. Does Taylor Heineke deserve to play for Washington? 100%. Can Winston do a better job? I think he could do way better. So I think Winston does deserve to be on a team.
I think he deserves to be on the team. He could definitely get a starting opportunity because it was the back injury that initially held him out. I really don't know why the Saints aren't giving him a chance. Maybe, but
Like I
Saints
don't get I don't get Andy Dalton. I
Saints
don't
could be
get it.
tanking. Saints could be tanking to draft the quarterback themselves. It's my belief. So this Zoom time is going to run out, but we're going to be right back with our NFL pick'em. So stay tuned.
Very nice.